Well, we are less than 2 weeks away from Election Day, and we're continuing our series looking at who's funding the candidates running for statewide seats. Remember, we first did this series last month, but the candidates have pulled in even more donations. Let's look at the lieutenant governor's race. According to Open Secrets, which is a merger of the Center for Responsive Politics and the National Institute on Money and Politics, incumbent Dan Patrick has raised nearly $29.8 million this election cycle, compared to his Democratic challenger Mike Collier, who has about $4.3 million. Now, these are Patrick's top 5 individual donors, and the list is pretty much the same as when we reported last month. Doug Pickott Jr., CEO of a Houston-based construction company, remains one of Patrick's top donors and has not donated any additional money since our first report last month. That's also the case for Douglas Schubert, who was also donated $600,000 to Patrick. Now, since our September report, telecommunications exec Kenneth Trout has donated more money and bumped up to the 3rd spot on Patrick's list with a total donation of $500,000. And new to Patrick's top 5 list this month is Governor Greg Abbott's top donor, oil and gas exec Saeed Javad Anwar. He has now given Patrick $496,639. Rounding out Patrick's top 5 is Temple, Texas businessman Drayton McClain. Now, since our September report, Open Secret shows Mike Collier's donations have increased by about $1.4 million. But interestingly, his top donors are the same, and most of them didn't give any additional money. The only exception to that is investor Stephen J. Davis, who gave $10,000 more, tying his donation with Stephen Davis, whose unemployment information is not available, at $35,000 each. Now, of course, we can't help but notice these two names are pretty much the same, but the team at Open Secrets that tracks this data has them listed as 2 different people. You note the difference in the middle name and the employment information. Now, the other names on Collier's top donor list are the same, and so are their donations. Venture investor Austin Ligon, Wayne Watson, Edward Allen III, who is in finance, have all donated $25,000 each to Collier. While Collier has significantly less money than Patrick in this race, it's interesting to note that $1.4 million he raised recently didn't come from big one-time donors, but instead smaller donations. Still, Patrick was able to outraise Collier by about $2.2 million since our last report last month. Brian.